Hello everybody, this is TipTopMTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I am going to be breaking down the top 10 most expensive cards on the Zendikar Rising set booster list. So for those of you who don't know what this is, essentially there's a new type of booster in Zendikar Rising called the set booster, and this booster is meant primarily for being opened, not drafted, not for collectors, just if you enjoy opening boosters, this booster is going to be for you. And one of the major features of this booster is that the last slot, the marketing card that will have an advertisement or a token on it, has a 25% chance to be replaced with a card from, quote, the list. And how this works is, it's a bunch of cards from Magic's history, not specifically from Zendikar, that are being printed exactly as they were before. So similar to how Mystery Booster had like the original frames, the original text on the card, they didn't change anything about the card other than adding a little Planeswalker symbol in the bottom left. And so that's the same here. You'll notice that there'll be a Planeswalker symbol, not on these images, but in the bottom left there will be a Planeswalker symbol. And yeah, so this is going to be a top 10 list, and why I think that this video is so important, why I put it out first ahead of the Commander deck review, price breakdown and the whole set top 10 is because they released these yesterday in a set of just 300 cards. Just look at the set of 300 cards, and so it's really hard to see, hey, how much value is there from, quote, the list? Should I be considering this when deciding whether I want draft boosters or set boosters, or should I just get what I want and the list doesn't really matter? And so we're gonna look at the top 10 most expensive cards, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of a price breakdown on all of the cards. Now, because of the way I had to do this, there is a chance that there are some cards that end up being higher valued than I'm putting here, and that is because some of them from their little preview are actually like for instance, I believe Brainstorm is being printed. It is the J signature spellbook art according to their little image spoiler. So if it is the J signature spellbook art, that's kind of weird. There's also one random Planes in the set that is I think maybe one of the first full arts, but I'm not sure. So why don't we jump right into this? These are the cards that just their base card is worth the most. Now this is before prices would have been adjusted because of the announced reprint. So I have a couple things to say. First off, just like all my other top 10 videos, if you are watching this shortly after, or even longer after, the prices on these cards will be most likely lower. Second, these prices are in USD and they are as of Card Kingdom's prices. So they're an average of prices from Card Kingdom and a couple other places. So you may be able to find these for different prices, but generally keep that in mind. So first we have Pact of Negation. So this is a $34.54 card. It's a zero cost instant, counter target spell, and at the beginning of your next upkeep, pay 5 or you lose the game. And so obviously free counter spells are really, really powerful. So this makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of the number 10 slot starting at $34.54, I think that's a good sign, but just remember there are 300 cards on this list, and so we'll break down what the odds of you getting an expensive card like this really are in the booster, in the product. So yeah, next we have Primal Vigor. It's a 5-cost green enchantment, and it says if one or more tokens would be put onto the battlefield, twice that many of those tokens are put onto the battlefield instead. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature, twice that many +1/+1 counters are placed on that creature instead. So this is a doubling season that affects both players instead of just one. So that's really interesting, and it's coming out in at about $37.48. Now, obviously, this is a very big Commander card, so it makes sense that it has this high price, but it's good to see a reprint of it. It's an effect that I would love to have, and it is something that does go and incentivize me to want to go get a set booster that maybe I could get this awesome card and throw it in a couple of my decks. Obviously, if I only get one of it, I can't throw it in a couple decks, but you know what I mean. Next, we have Land Tax. It's $38.34, and it's a 1-cost enchantment, and it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So, yeah, this is a pretty good card. It was last reprinted as a Mythic and Double Master, so that kind of shows you the, power of the card. It is a, staple in white in like mono white decks in Commander and Boros decks. It is one of the best ways to guarantee land drops in those formats, and it's just a really good card, so it's exciting to see it reprinted again after its Double Masters reprint. They seem to be doing this a lot. Like, we had a lot of crossover between Double Masters and Jumpstart. Now we're having a lot of crossover between Double Masters and the list. The thing is, the list is a lot different. Like, you can't just buy a booster pack of the list. There's a 25% chance that it is in a Zendikar Rising set booster. So 1 in 4 times you're not even going to get this. And then you have a 1 in 300 chance of getting what you want. So you have like a 1 in 1200 chance that when you open a set booster, you get the specific card you're looking for from the list. So yeah, that's not very great, but I think the list is a wonderful idea and a nice little way to add in reprints that need to happen outside of a set. So I really like the way this works. Next, we have Training Ground. It's a 1-cost blue enchantment. It says activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. And it says this effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs less than 1. So it's just the fact that this is so cheap makes it so powerful. I run it in one Commander deck, and it is very powerful. It just allows you to do so many crazy things, and the fact that it comes out turn 1 is insane. It works well with things like Kenrith, and anything that has an activated ability is kind of going to want this card, as it's going to make it a lot cheaper to activate. And yeah, that's coming in at $48.22. So we've already kind of gone up about $10 in about 3 places, which I think is pretty good. Next, we have Enlightened Tutor, 1-cost white instant. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal that card, shuffle your library, then put that card on top of it. If you notice, a lot of these are Commander cards. I would call Pact of Negation, Enlightened Tutor, Primal Vigor. All of those are very much cards that see a lot of play in Commander, and that is because it's an Eternal format. And so some of the most powerful cards and expensive cards that they may want to throw on the list are probably going to see play in that format too, but things like Enlightened Tutor to go get yourself a Soul Ring or whatever you need is just really nice, and I think Enlightened Tutor is a great pick. I think these tutor cards really need to come down in price, and this is a nice way to do that. Now, because of the weird, you'll get 1 copy of every single one of these cards every 1,200 boosters. I don't know how much this is actually going to affect the price. I also don't know, and they haven't really explained, are rares in this slot are less common than, say, any uncommons in the slot? I don't know. They haven't really explained that. But if that's the case, that really changes the math on everything. But I think it's just a random chance that you get 1 card from the list. So 1 in 1,200 boosters will have this. So for every 1,200 set boosters opened, we're getting 1 extra copy of each of these cards. So when you're thinking about it, think about, for every 1,200 boosters, you're only getting 1. So if you wanted to get, say, all 10 of these cards, you would need to open up 1,200 boosters. So that's pretty crazy. Next, we have Thrumming Stone, 5-cost legendary artifacts. Spells you control have Ripple 4, which means whenever you play a spell, you may reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may play any revealed cards with the same name as that spell without paying their mana cost, put the rest on the bottom of your library. So a pretty powerful effect. I'm not sure exactly why this is so high in price. Maybe it's in a deck I'm not aware of, but it could be due to just print run issues. But nevertheless, it is a $52.22 card. However, I've never heard of anyone using this. Maybe I'm missing something. If I am, let me know. Unfortunately, because this is like a printed as they were, this one isn't getting the legendary frame, which I quite like, but whatever. $52 for a card that could replace a marketing card, which is basically just garbage, or a token, is pretty awesome, and it's a nice little addition. And that's what I think works so well, is that even if you ignore the list, set boosters are a great addition, or are great in my opinion, and this is just added value on top of it. The chance that you could get yourself a Thrumming Stone is pretty cool. Next, we have Renin 6. It's a red and a green for a legendary Planeswalker Ren, 3 loyalty, and you can +1 to return up to 1 target land from your graveyard to your hand. You can -1, and it deals 1 damage to any target, and you can -7 to give all instants and sorceries in your graveyard retrace on an emblem. So, yeah, pretty powerful commander. It is, not commander, Planeswalker, and yeah, this one doesn't see as much like commander play. This one sees more play in older formats, but not older than Commander, obviously. I'm just mean other formats. This is a very awesome Planeswalker, because it is such a cheap one. It's one of the few 2 CMC Planeswalkers. It lets you do a lot of interesting things with lands, which a lot of decks want to do, and it'll be nice to have this card drop in price. Next, we have Food Chain. It's a 3-cost green enchantment. Remove a creature you control from the game. So exile a creature you control. Add X mana of any color to your mana pool, where X is the removed creatures, the exiled creatures. Converted mana cost +1. This mana may only be spent to play creature spells. Now, this is very popular because there are cards that let you play them from exile. For instance, Squee the Immortal lets you play him from exile. So if you had Food Chain and Squee the Immortal, you could generate infinite any colored mana. Actually, I think it has to be red because you need to add the mana for Squee, but you can add infinite mana to your mana pool. It is known for these combos, and so that is why it is such a high-valued card. It hasn't seen a reprint in a very long time, and so it'll be nice to see it come down in price slightly. If it does, I'm not 100% sure if it will, but keep that in mind, that this card is being reprinted, which is pretty awesome. And I also, by the way, I want to say, I know a lot of people like the older frame, so that could be also a benefit for people. Next, we have Cruel Tutor. It's a 3-cost black sorcery, and it says search your library for any card. Search your library for a card. Shuffle your deck and put that card on top of it. You lose 2 life. So it is a worse demonic tutor. I mean, it costs more. It puts it on top of your library and you lose life, but it is, I believe, from Portal. I think that's what that symbol is, which means that it had a very limited print run, so its price is extremely high. And yeah, so I would rather play Grim Tutor personally, but this is not a bad tutor option. If you were to pull it, I don't think anyone would be that upset, especially saying that it's an $85 card at the moment. So $85 for a card is pretty awesome. Again, this is one of the ones that I think could easily fall because it's mostly due to supply issues. And then in number 1, we have Scroll Rack. It's a 2-cost artifact. Pay 1, tap, choose any number of cards inside your hand and set those cards aside. Put an equal number of cards from the top of your library into your hand. Then put the cards set aside this way on top of your library. So you kind of just do this little swap. So you take, 5 cards from your hand, throw them on top of your library, and then take the 5 cards that were under that. So that's kind of what you do. It is useful in a lot of different, I'm not sure how much play this season, like Legacy and Vintage and all that. But in Commander, this is a really awesome card for any commander that cares about what the top card of your library is, whether you're cheating things out because of it or really anything. So yeah, that is pretty awesome. Now, we've taken a look at all the prices. We started at $30 and we quickly got up to $97, and I think that was on purpose. I think they designed the list in such a way to be like, oh, look, the number 1 card's $100. I could just get $100 thrown into one of my boosters. But when we actually look at the numbers, there are 300 cards total, and half of the cards are worth more than $1. So, 1/4 of the time, you're going to get one of these cards, and then half of the time, you are going to get one worth over $1. So what that means is that 1/8 of the time, when you open a set booster, you will get a card worth more than $1 there. So that's not awful, maybe add $1 worth of value to your packs, but only 118 are worth over 2, 85 are worth over 5, 50-ish are worth over 10, 22 are worth over 20, and 6 are worth over 50. So you can do with these numbers what you want. And obviously the full art planes was counted as a normal planes in this list, so it was in the less than $1 range. And so if that specific version of planes is worth more, it could theoretically be bumped up, but I'm not sure if they meant the specific versions they put or if they were just pulling random versions of the cards. I'm not sure. We will have to see as more information is revealed. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.